Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the biggest nose, Jay-Z Courtside, coming at y'all today on October 16th. That's right. 3 days in a row, 3 podcasts. Come on, we're getting consistent. The season's right around the corner. We're less than a week away. We got to stay consistent. Now's the time. Also, I'm sure you guys have noticed, if you are watching on YouTube, then you can see my new haircut. It's not my main barber. I'm from Detroit. And I've been trying out this new barber out in down here in North Carolina. He's not bad. He's doing all right. I don't trust him with my beard yet, so I'm gonna have to do that work. If you guys want to see what I look like from the Apple and Spotify podcast, be sure to go check out the YouTube. That link, the main channel link, Jay-Z Uncut on YouTube, where we post documentary style videos. My Twitter, Discord server, where we talk hoops all day long. Everything. All those links will be down in the description on whichever platform you are listening to. Let's get the quick laundry list out of the way. Be sure to leave a 5-star review if you guys are enjoying, and drop a like and subscribe on YouTube, as well as a follow on Spotify and Apple. It really, really, really helps a lot. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I'm not exaggerating. Somebody left a bad review on Apple. I now have a 1-star review on Apple. So please get those good reviews in. He said in the one podcast that I did where I spoke about each NBA team, and I mentioned one positive thing about all the teams, he said I was only positive about the Pistons. Now, while that might be true that I was very positive about the Pistons, it's definitely not true that I was negative towards all the other teams. So be sure to leave a good review. It really, really goes a long way as we're trying to get consistent on this channel as the season starts up. Guys, this episode, you saw the thumbnail and title. We are discussing the top 10 small forwards in the league right now. Now, this is based off of last season with some projections going into next year. Some projections. Some of these players needed those projections. Others were, let's just say they're lucky that we're mainly focusing on last season alone. We did the point guards 2 days ago. We did the shooting guards yesterday. So be sure to go check those out. They're timeless before the season begins. And yeah, I appreciate all y'all for clicking. So I hope you guys enjoy the podcast. I don't want to say my honorable mentions off rip. So I'll start like mentioning them when I picked this, when you can tell that player is not going to be on this top 10, right? That's when I'll start mentioning them. Now, remember, we're going to go through their points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and efficiency all around on the court. I don't want to get too stat heavy. I know that can be jarring for some new listeners. So right now we're going to start staying a little bit more friendly to the ears, because once you start hearing all these numbers fly around, you start just tuning me out, right? I know some of you guys are probably listening in the car, at work, on the toilet, whatever it may be. I want to keep it as easy to follow as possible. All right. So guys, I just want to say again, during the basketball season, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing these podcasts live. So if you want to get some comments in, you want to talk, maybe have your comment appear on the screen, be sure to tune in onto the Twitch, the YouTube, the Twitter, the TikTok, everywhere that you can go live, we will be live. Anyways, let's get all that nonsense out of the way. Let's start with today's episode, the top 10 small forwards. Now, number 10 could have gone anyway. I ultimately picked this player mainly based off of last season and what they showed us, but mostly projections on this guy. And I know y'all might be calling the Homer fan card, right? I know how this is going to look, but I genuinely believe that last season, this player was better than all the honorable mentions I have. And that's why he barely cracked the top 10. We have Ausar Thompson. I said in the Pistons podcast, in the point guard podcast, that Cade might be the only player from the Pistons that will crack any of these lists. And now the more I'm starting to think about it, I gotta consider Jalen Duren as well. Maybe Tobias Harris. We'll look through the power forwards and we'll see. But for now, let's focus on Ausar Thompson. Now, I don't want to say the honorable mentions yet because the player that you're thinking might still be ahead. Ausar Thompson averaged 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, almost 2 steals, a block, 22% from 3-point land, and 57% from 2. Now, that 22% three-point is just absolutely horrendous. Like that needs to get up. That is, I think that is the lowest three-point percentage on this list. And that's why it's incredible that he's even cracked this top 10. As y'all, I don't want to spoil where I had his brother in the shooting guards top 10, but he was higher. Asar Thompson last year came back from blood clots. He missed the end of the 2023-2024 basketball season due to these blood clots, missed all of the entire summer. The entire summer he missed. He didn't get to work out. He didn't get to do training camp. He didn't get to practice any facets of his game. He basically started playing like a month and a half into the season. And even then, it was on like a 12 to 15 minute like time restriction. He was coming off the bench and then he started to start. I think it was right as the calendar turned around January 1st, end of December. Because him and Jaden Ivey didn't even get to play on the court together. I think they shared 10 minutes on the court together. So that's nothing. That's why people are so excited for next year. Although I will say, based off of the news that we received yesterday on Jaden Ivey that he's day to day, they're not releasing anything as far as injury wise. I don't know why, but let's stay on track here with Asar Thompson. As soon as he got plugged into the starting lineup, what a difference. What a difference. I just wish we had a consistent three-point shooter next to him with Cade, because Tim Hardaway Jr. starting, it just, yeah. If you guys watch, Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to be, he's going to be incredible on the Nuggets because he's going to be playing with Jokic. Jokic makes every mid player look incredible. Asar Thompson's defense needs no introduction. This guy's plus minus, I think, was a plus 70 throughout the entire season. When he was on the court, the Pistons were winning games. No matter what. When he was on the court, we were winning games. I know you're going to flash back to when Jalen Brunson hit that step back three to seal that series, but let's not even look at that. Let's zoom out and look at the 6 minutes prior to Jalen Brunson hitting that shot. For the majority of the fourth quarter, Jalen Brunson was shooting 1 for 7 because we put Asar Thompson on him. He was shooting 1 for 7. Pistons were leading. I think we were up by 8, maybe 7 or 9. And then JB Bickerstaff, head coach of the Detroit Pistons, took Asar out. And then all of a sudden, Brunson scored 4 baskets straight. 4 straight, because Malik Beasley can't guard. At least he can't guard Jalen Brunson. So then the Pistons, they gave up the lead. It was a close game. JB Bickerstaff, there was a timeout. The Knicks called. JB finally brought Asar in. Too little, too late. You just sat him out for 2.5 minutes. He wasn't tired. Jalen Brunson cooked. He got hot, and he hit that game-winning shot on Asar. And Asar's going to get a lot of blame for that shot when he was locking up. I'm not saying that lightly. He was locking Brunson up in the fourth quarter. You don't believe me? Go look at the stats. Go look at it. Asar Thompson's impact on the court at all times is absolutely unbelievable. I know we always say it when this kid develops a shot, when they develop a shot, when they tighten their handle, when we say all that stuff, I don't say it lightly. But when his brother, Ahmed, and Asar both develop a tighter handle, which it looks like Asar is, right? He looks like a freight train now when he's running down the court. He just needs to make sure he doesn't run too fast without the ball, because that's been happening in the preseason. If he can hit that 3-point, now I'm not saying jump from 22% to a 40% three-point shooter. That's unrealistic. That won't happen. But if he can bring that 22% closer to 30, and he can be a liable threat in the corner for a three, that would open up the Pistons' half-court offense an unbelievable amount. An unbelievable amount. Last year, we were playing Asar Thompson in the dunker spot because that's all he could do. We would have him in the dunker spot, Duran in the dunker spot, or in the high post, and the half-court would be clogged. Cade struggles at finishing at the rim because there was no spacing around him. So if the Pistons truly want to run that lineup of Ron Holland and Asar Thompson, one of them, or both, are going to have to develop somewhat of a consistent jump shot. Asar is too good of a player to not be on this top 10. And like projections, let's just say this. I think Asar Thompson's leading the votes across the league in GMs for the over-under on what player is going to win most improved. Amen, he's handed the keys already. He has a full 1.5 years more experience than Asar. Asar didn't get to practice his game at all last year. He just got thrown into the league, and he was averaging like 17 minutes a game, while Cade was averaging 35 to 39. So, yes, Amen is better for now, but I think that could change. I think it could change. Like I said, Amen does have about a year of experience in the NBA than his brother does, especially with Fred VanVleet out in Houston. He's going to be the primary ball handler, him and Reed Shepherd. So Asar, they said that they want to run him at point forward a lot just to relieve Cade of his nightly duties. And I think we could see Asar Thompson win most improved. There's a couple players on this list that I think if we did this a year from now, when we do this a year from now, they could fall out of the top 10. Straight up. There's a player like Asar Thompson, if healthy, which he should be, I think he could throttle his way into the top 5. Genuinely. I think Asar Thompson has the highest potential out of anybody on this list today. Maybe other than one person. Yeah, one person. Anyways, that's what I believe about Asar Thompson. That's why I think he got number 10. I'm going to show you my number 9 now, right? If you guys are watching on YouTube, we do have a little visual popping up on the screen for each player. My apologies for the last episode. I realized I didn't change the header, the headline. I kept it on point guards when it was the shooting guard episodes. Nobody corrected me. That's okay. Number 9, I have a proven veteran. That could be anybody. It could be LeBron. It could be Durant. It could be Kawhi. But at number 9, we have DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan last year averaged 22.2 points, 4.5 assists, 4 rebounds, less than a steal, and he shot 33% from 3, which is not bad for DeMar DeRozan. He was shooting more. DeMar does not take threes. He also shot 51% from 2. DeMar DeRozan is one of the most consistent. I think he's in the 25,000 club. If not, then he's definitely going to enter it this year. DeMar DeRozan is one of the most elite scorers in NBA history. Wherever you want it, he can give it to you. DeMar DeRozan was just a little late into the NBA. Had he entered in the late 90s and then ran through the 2000s, I think DeMar DeRozan would arguably, people would debate. Now, of course, if he has rings and, you know, all of that stuff, scoring titles and stuff, arguably one of the greatest shooting guard, greatest combo forwards in the game. DeMar DeRozan, unfortunately, was in Toronto for a long time, getting beat on LeBron and, you know, bounced to San Antonio. And now he's on the Kings. He was on the Bulls and the Kings. I think DeMar he had to be on this list because if you give him the ball, he's going to go get you a bucket. Like, no matter what. He shoots high efficiencies from 2. You know, he does those midi fades. He has great handles, great footwork. DeMar is too good of a player to exclude from this top 10 list. And I'll tell you this much. Had DeMar been in a different situation, I'm not saying that like he's been demanded to lose. Like he's not settling on losing, right? It's just the teams that he's been on. Like on any bad team, he'll put up these stats. On any good team, he's been putting up these stats. So these are not by any means empty calories. He was doing this on every team he's been on. I do feel for DeMar. I was talking about it yesterday when I was talking about Zach LaVine in the shooting guards episode. I said there's only one basketball on the court. That's why I don't like what the Kings are doing. They just want to sell tickets and they want to stay mediocre. That's it. They don't care about winning a title. I was saying that because they have DeMar, they have Zach LaVine, they have Malik Monk, they found Dennis Schroeder in the offseason. They were trying to trade for Kuminga because that fell through. You know who else they got? Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook was, I guess, no NBA team wanted him or he didn't want to settle for a contract with him. I know China offered him like a deal that was worth 4 times more than any NBA contract to go there. The Sacramento Kings opted and got Russell Westbrook. Remember when I said there's only one basketball on the court? What does this mean for Sabonis, who also needs the basketball? I'm sorry, Kings fans. Genuinely, your owner is horrible. He's absolutely horrible. All he wants to do is sell tickets. That's it. I feel for you guys, man. I genuinely feel for y'all. DeMar DeRozan is number 9. He could have been number 10. Hell, he could have been number 8. He's been a prolific scorer his entire career. I just don't know how next year is going to look at all. He's not going to average 22.2 points per game. There's just no way. It's going to drop. Now, will he fall out of the 20s? I'm not sure about that. But Russell Westbrook, Dennis Schroeder, Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Domantas Sabonis. There's one basketball, guys. There's one basketball on the court. I don't know how that's going to work out. I got DeMar at 9. I love DeMar DeRozan. Great player. I love the days back with Lowry and DeRozan. You know, I hear they're still best buddies. He's a huge advocate for mental health awareness. I don't think you can be a basketball fan and not respect what DeMar DeRozan has done in his NBA tenure. I love DeMar. Now, number 8 stings a little bit. I mentioned his teammate yesterday in the shooting guards episode. This guy is basically what I try to build in NBA 2K every year. He is a undisputed one of the best defensive players in the league, perimeter defenders. And he shoots threes at an efficient rate. He locks up your best player. Give me OG Anunoby of the New York Knicks. He averaged 18 points, to almost 2.5 assists, 5 rebounds, a steal and a half, a block, shot 37% from deep. Asar, I hope you're listening. 37% from deep. And he shot 56% from 2. OG Anunoby is quite literally the perfect build in any 2K game. Big, strong, athletic, can defend incredibly well, and can shoot. He can do it all. OG Anunoby is, like, honestly the unsung hero of the New York Knicks. Watching OG and watching Mikal Bridges just continuously hound Cade Cunningham, literally every other possession, they were just switching. They would just switch whoever's guarding him. The way the Knicks are so versatile, especially going into next year, now that they have Cat through training camp, and Mikal Bridges' hitch got fixed in his shot, they're scary. I don't know how the Cavs have a higher odd at winning the championship next year over the Knicks. I don't. I know Evan Mobley's only going to improve, but the Knicks chemistry is only going to improve as well. Hopefully Mike Brown can put it all together for Knicks fans. OG Anunoby is an incredible talent. That 37% from deep in the Knicks Pistons series of last year's playoff, that alone won them that series. I know there were some missed calls here and there. I'm not going to complain about all of that. I did enough complaining about that all summer long. 37% from 3. I think his corner 3 is in the 40s. I'd have to look that up. But I think his corner 3 is in the 40s. That is how good that is how versatile of a player OG Anunoby is. With him being the small forward for the Knicks going into next year, I see no issue on their defense side and their offense side. He can score. He can defend. Mikal Bridges can score. He can defend. Cat can defend. He can score. Mitchell Robinson can defend. Jalen Brunson can score. Can't defend. He doesn't need to. He's got this tank running behind him. I'm a huge fan of OG Anunoby. I think he is honestly one of the most underrated players in the league. You can plug this man on any NBA team, and they would be throttled into championship contention. I think he does not do anything wrong on the court other than, I know Knicks fans, if there is one listening, other than when he puts it on the floor, his handles aren't that great. His facilitating is horrible. Horrible. But it's all good. OG Anunoby, you are an incredible talent. Honestly, I could have put him higher, but I'm sort of like, this is the ceiling for OG. You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to average more than this as far as points go next year. This is the ceiling. The next player I have at number 7, we don't know what his ceiling is. Honestly, it's up to him on whether or not he climbs to the mountaintop or not. At number 7, I have none other than the Orlando Magic's Franz Wagner. He averaged 24 points, almost 5 assists, almost 6 rebounds, 1.3 assists, half a block. He shot 29% from 3. Second lowest 3-point percentage on this list. Okay. My apologies. Third lowest. And he shot 53% from two. Franz Wagner was dealing with those small injuries throughout the year, but they were enough to set back the Magic. Now, I'm a big Magic hater, right? But I can appreciate the talent that they've built. I've talked about their team plenty. The acquisition of Desmond Bane, I've talked about it a lot, right? Him next to Paolo Banchero, this is the year to truly see, can they do this? Is this the duo that's going to work, right? I believe Wagner already got extended from his rookie contract. Good for him. My only issue with Franz is his three-point shot, because his shot selection is wonky, but he hits them. Like, he does not take the best shots that are available, but he hits them. The only issue is his three-point consistency. 29% for Franz, and especially a lot of attempts. I was thinking that in Eurobasket, because he was just playing there, I thought he was really going to show us a different side of him. Taking a sip of my coffee, my apologies. But we didn't. His three-point, he still shot 30% from three. Not a big jump. 1% is not enough. I don't know what, like, some players just aren't destined to be a shooter, and that's fine. But in this modern NBA, you have to have it as at least a weapon, you know? If Franz Wagner can develop a higher three-point, like a better three-point shot, then him and Paolo, that should even be a question on whether or not they can work. It shouldn't. Because the only issue with the Magic last year is they couldn't score. They could not put the ball in the basket. They went and got Desmond Bane. They got rid of KCP. Jalen Suggs said he was practicing his offensive game. Paolo Banchero said he's practicing everything, right? This team could be, the sky's the limit. But I think this team can only go as far as Franz will lead them. Paolo, he is him. Paolo, we'll talk about him in the next episode for the power forwards for sure. But my main issue with the Magic is Franz Wagner. He's too good of a player. And I feel like watching the Magic is just weird. It's like sometimes they just start taking turns because they can't score. So, okay, Paolo, here's your time. All right, Franz, here's your time. Oh, Franz, you scored? Okay, Franz, take it again. That was how the last season went. That's how last season went. With the addition of Desmond Bane, with how good of a scorer and facilitator he is, because he always took the point guard slot when John Morant was out with suspensions or injuries, I think he's going to help move the ball a lot, and that should open the court up. Now that they have shooting, I expect Franz Wagner to shoot above 30% this year from three. Book it. We'll come back to this in a couple months. We'll see. But if healthy, I fully expect Wagner's three-point shooting to be well into the 30%. I'm not saying 34, 35, but 31, 32. I think that's more than obtainable now that you have the gravity of both Desmond Bane and Paolo Banchero, who both are going to improve your shooting. Paolo said he's working on it. Desmond Bane, we already know he's a proven shooter. So yeah, Franz Wagner, I think this could be a big year. I think he could jump 4 players on this list and enter the top 3. I think he could. Like this season. I mean that. The reason why I said Asar Thompson has the highest potential of being able to hop somebody was ignoring Franz. Because him and Franz could both jump into this top 4. They could. When we get there, you'll see what I mean. But yeah, any Magic fan out there should be extremely excited. I know people are really overhyping them right now, and that's fine. It's preseason. It's okay to do that. I just worry with these tic-tac injuries, I hope it doesn't affect them too much, and I hope the chemistry can last, because Orlando needs a good team. I love Orlando. I love the city. I love the team, the color scheme, I love Orlando, everything about them. And I hope, obviously, I'm not a fan of them, but I do love the franchise in itself. I think Franz is going to have a huge, 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 huge year. He is. Now, I think I'm going to say this name and then mention some honorable mentions, because I think at this point you can tell that I left them out. All right. So at number 6, 5 and 6 could fall out of the top 10 entirely when we do this next year. Like, if I'm being so real with y'all, next year, a year from now, when we do this exact podcast, I think almost spoiled it. I think number 6 and number 5 could fall out of the top 10 entirely. And at number 6, we have Jimmy Butler for the Golden State Warriors. He averaged 18 points, 6 assists, 5.5 rebounds, almost 2 steals. He shot 28% from deep and 53% from 2. Jimmy didn't have a good year. He did not. He wasn't playing well in Miami. We all know what happened there. Forced himself out of Miami. And when he came to Golden State, he still wasn't Jimmy Butler. But the Warriors started winning. And that's the key point here. I think they won like 11 out of 12 games right before the playoffs. And yeah, they unlocked a different part of the Warriors' potential. I hope they can replicate what they did, because honestly, as far as championship contending teams, I think a lot of people are sleeping on the Golden State Warriors. In the playoffs, they were pretty much wiping the floor with the Rockets. When Curry went out, I think in round 2, when Curry went out, Jimmy Butler finally shown us what he can do, what he does, what he is. When Curry went out, Jimmy said, all right, I got this for like 2 games. And he tapped into the Jimmy we know and love. I think this year could potentially be like the year that, that Jimmy Butler realizes like the talent that he has around him. He's not the best player on his team anymore. At least, he shouldn't with Curry, right? I think with the amount of help that Jimmy has now, he might fall out of this top 10 because he doesn't have to like lift as much weight until the playoffs. We all know Jimmy. He just waits until the playoffs, right? But I'm very, very interested in what they can do in the playoffs if they make it. They should. The reason why I say Jimmy Butler could fall out of the list is 2 reasons. One, I think he's just getting there. He's getting up there in age. I think he's realizing that he doesn't have to be the one that's the most ball dominant player. His 3-point shot has never been good. And I don't think he's needed it to be. He can get to the basket or shoot that pull-up midi anytime he wants. I think he might just not need to carry that weight too. So he might be losing a little of his prowess, and he might not need to carry that weight. So I think he could entirely fall out of the top 10 with a lot of the players that I did not include, which let me get to him now. I did not include Brandon Ingram. Just didn't see him last year. That's the main reason. Ingram would be on here. I think it was really tough to put a couple of these players on the top 10. That's why they are the honorable mentions. Yeah, Brandon Ingram, we just didn't see him last year. I think, all depends on what happens in Toronto. They have so many players in his position that I don't know how that's going to work out. Another honorable mention, we have Paul George. I did a Paul George documentary. It was the first video I ever made, actually, on my main YouTube channel, Jay-Z Uncut. Paul George will tell you that was his worst year of his career. He'll tell you firsthand. So I don't think I need to even explain myself. Paul George knows how bad he was last year. Paul George should be in this top 10. We'll see if he is this year. I don't want to dwell on these guys. Trey Murphy of the New Orleans Pelicans is a guy that I really wanted to include on here. And I could have put him anywhere in the latter half of this. But I think now, with Zion being as healthy as he claims to be, and he looks in the preseason, with Jordan Poole, with Herb Jones, I think this team truly could make a leap. And it all depends. It depends all on Zion mainly, but I think Trey Murphy, he deserves to be on this list. But I had to look at projections. I don't know how good Trey Murphy can be. I don't know how good he can be. I know how good Asar can be, and that's why I included him. Another player that I wanted to mention is Jaden McDaniels. I love Jaden McDaniels. I just don't know, what more can we see from Jaden McDaniels being like the third, maybe sometimes even fourth sidekick on the Minnesota Timberwolves? We all know Ant, it's his team. We all know Julius Randle, Gobert, right? I feel as though he is such an important piece to that team. If they lost him, almost everything would fall apart. Because then who would guard the forwards of the other the scorers of the other teams? I love Jaden McDaniels. I think the effort that he brings onto the court is just, it's undeniable. He's one of the best defensive forwards in the league. But his offensive game still is just so one-dimensional. If he can truly evolve on that side of the court, I I don't know what his limit is. I don't know what his limit is. And it's not even like an optimistic, I don't know. It's sort of like it's a genuine, I don't know what this man has the potential to do offensively. So those are my honorable mentions there. Okay. So yeah, Jimmy Butler. I feel like these players who've been in the league, I don't need to talk too much about. But the players who obviously, I mean, look at everyone we cover. They're all mainly young guys, other than DeMar DeRozan. I feel like he doesn't really need a whole lot to talk about. Jimmy Butler, he genuinely could be a top 5 on here, but he could also fall out of the top 10 by the end of this season, like 100%. I don't think I've been more confident in anything in my entire life. I'm telling you, if you can't shoot a 3 and you're getting up there in age, like we see what Brook Lopez and Al Horford has done. I know they're completely different positions, but look at all the big men that were drafted around the same time as those two, right? They've all been out of the league for years because they can never develop a consistent jump shot. If Jimmy just continues to rise in age and he still can't shoot from deep, where does that put him? Look at Russell Westbrook. I know it's similar position, but look at Westbrook, right? If these guards can't consistently shoot, then there's no place for him. He plays defense in the playoffs. He deserves to be where he's at right here at number 6. And talking about Jimmy Butler's ability reminds me of the best ability in basketball. It's not scoring ability. It's not defensive ability. It's none of that, actually. It's availability. I'm sure you guys have heard that 100,000 times. And that's why we have Kawhi Leonard at number 5. He very well could have been left out entirely out of this list, but because apparently he's healthy right now, but he's going through all of those legality issues with that aspiration tree company. Apparently he's being paid under the table from this charity company. Anyways, Kawhi Leonard averaged 21.5 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds, 1.5 steals, half a block, shot 41% from 3 and 53% from 2. Another man that doesn't need an introduction. We all know what Kawhi Leonard brings. If he's on the court, he's the best player. If he's not on the court, well, he's not on the court. He's not doing anything for your team except collecting a paycheck. I mean, simply put, Kawhi at healthy could be number 1 right here. He could be. He's shown us that he can be the number 1 person on this list. But number 1 has something that number 5 never had in his entire career ever since he left the Spurs, and that's availability. The amount of times that I have said the Clippers, this is your year, or Kawhi, this is your year. I mean, he did it in Toronto. He did it in San Antonio. But I don't know how many years he's been. How long has he been in LA? 5 years? Yeah, 5 years. And I've said every year that the Clippers are championship contenders. And they prove me wrong every single year. Now, last year, I will say they were close. You know, they were just an Aaron Gordon buzzer beater tip away from moving on, right? In that game 7. I don't know what they would have done after that, but yeah, that's what happens. Kawhi Leonard, I think, yes, it's official. This is the oldest team in NBA history. Not franchise. I'm talking players. They have the oldest roster in the history of the NBA. But I genuinely believe that this is the best team the Clippers have ever had in franchise history. I'm sorry, Lob City. Dude, look at this roster. I don't see any they even got Bradley Beal, John Collins, Brook Lopez off the bench. Their bench is better than a lot of team starters, with Chris Paul being in the mix as well. If the Clippers cannot do it this year, we don't even know if Kawhi is going to be starting the season off because of these legal issues. The one time he's healthy going into a season, we don't even know if he's going to be playing because of this issue. If the Los Angeles Clippers can stay healthy, I don't even want to say it. I don't want to say it. They're not contenders. I think they're pretenders. I don't think they're contenders. I can't put my trust in Kawhi Leonard. And I think now that this is the first time I've actually said this out loud, watch him do it. Watch me be the jinx of the Los Angeles Clippers. So hopefully y'all can ride off that. Kawhi Leonard kicks off our top 5. We'll see what they can do. Honestly, I can't, man. I can't. I don't know what more I can say on the matter. My apologies, podcast listeners. Taking a sip of my coffee. You would see it if you're on the YouTube. At number 4, it was I was worried about putting him here. And now that I'm looking at it again, I think I'm a little less worried with the names surrounding him. At number 4, we have Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. 22.2 points, 4.5 assists, almost 6 rebounds, almost a steal and a half. He shot 32% from deep and 53% from 2. Jaylen Brown was also an all-star last year. Jaylen Brown could be 3 on this list. You could argue with me. But I look at playoff stats as well as playoff performers, and number 3 was just, number 3 is insane. But Jaylen Brown has the potential this year, and that's why I'm worried. That's genuinely why I'm worried, because I think he now has so much pressure on himself after, like, this season. The Boston Celtics have 0 pressure. I think we can all agree. If they make the play-in, great. If they make the playoffs, that is incredible. How did they make the playoffs, right? But it all starts with Jaylen Brown. Derek White's going to do his thing. Peyton Pritchard's going to do his thing, right? Without Tatum because of his Achilles injury, Jaylen Brown, this is your team. Take that average of 22.2 up to 25-26. Be an all-star again. Be an all-NBA talent if possible. We know you can do it, but I'm just worried that, like, now the Celtics went from having no pressure to a lot of pressure placed on one man and one man alone, and that's Jaylen Brown. I don't want to say that Joe Mazzulla, the head coach, is the reason for this, but they're not going to tank. I was trying to think, like, they have their draft pick next year. Could they potentially, Jaylen Brown, sprains his pinky finger, right? They sit him out for a month, right? Because they were already having somewhat of a skid of games so they can get that draft. I don't think Joe Mazzulla would do that, which is why I think they're genuinely going to try to get a playoff spot. And I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know. I guess we'll find out together. But Jaylen Brown, get that 3-point percentage up. 32% is not cutting it. Okay. On top of that, your points do need to go up. Your efficiency needs to go up. Your handles, you got to improve those, man. We all know you can't go left. I can't go left either. It's all good, but I'm not being paid $200-some million to play basketball. Jaylen, you work on that handle. You don't even need to be the primary ball handler. Let Derek White handle it. Let Peyton Pritchard handle it. They got it. Just get open and hit your shots. Because I promise you, man, if this year, if you guys don't make the play-in, like, let's say you have a good year, but you make the play-in, that's fine. As long as you've shown us that, like, you could level up, we got nothing to worry about. We know how good of a player you are individually. Can you do it without Tatum at your side? I really feel for him because genuinely all summer long, the Celtics have no pressure. They have no expectations. But, and there's always been that but with that asterisk on Jaylen Brown, because I think Celtics fans, they're going to have an immense amount of pressure on Jaylen Brown. And I think people around the world are they're going to be looking at him. They're going to be scrutinizing his every move, his every decision on the court. That's why I have Jaylen Brown in my number 4. At number 3, top 3. We're entering our top 3, y'all. I have a player that is pretty controversial for casual NBA fans, right? At number 3, I have another Jaylen. And no, not Jalen Williams on the Oklahoma City Thunder's bench. But I have Jalen Williams, J-Dub, at number 3 of the Oklahoma City Thunder starting lineup. The man who dropped 40 points in the finals in a game. He averaged 21.5 points, 5 assists, almost 5.5 rebounds, a steal and a half, more than half a block. He shot 36% from 3, 53% from 2. He was an all-star. He was all NBA third team, and he was all defense second team. J-Dub. J-Dub. 24 years old. I don't know if this is going to make me sound like a Glazer, but you showed me something last year that I genuinely didn't trust. I talk about the NBA a lot. I stream on Twitch Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern, right? The podcasts, like I said, are going to be starting at 9 a.m. Eastern if you want to watch those live. I've been streaming for 5 years, and I've talked about J-Dub a lot, specifically last year with my community. And I kept saying, I think J-Dub's the issue. I don't think Shea, a backcourt of Shea and J-Dub, well, I guess he's not really backcourt. Lou Dort is there too. But I don't think like they're star players. It could be J-Dub and Shea. J-Dub wants the ball. J-Dub wants to score. And then J-Dub started passing. And he averaged 5 assists. And then J-Dub showed that he doesn't need it. He can do more than just score. He can facilitate. He can defend. J-Dub, I apologize. I admit when I'm wrong. And I was very wrong on you. I said in the playoffs that you are the problem. You shut me up and dropped 40 in a finals game. Not just that, you won an NBA championship at 24 years old. J-Dub, I'm sorry. And I expect nothing but great things out of you. What's your ceiling, though? Are you a number 2? Are you a number 2 and that's it? Is that your ceiling, being a number 2 on a team? Or can you lead? I don't know, man. The Oklahoma City Thunder, we've saw it before. Their 6th man of the year went on to become an MVP, averaging 40 through a season, not all season long. James Harden, right? Then they had Westbrook, another MVP. And Durant, another MVP. Are you a number 2? You have Shea. You have J-Dub. You have Chet. Are you a number 2? Are you going to fall to number 3 now that Chet is going to only improve? Are you content with being a number 3 on a championship contending team? I mean, he's there. They extended him. They are paying Shea, SGA, Chet Holmgren, and J-Dub $750 million over the next few years. They all got the rookie extensions. Or sorry, Shea wasn't a rookie extension, but J-Dub and Chet were. You guys are worth $750 million. You're there. They're not going to trade you. Unless you ask for it, they are not going to trade you. I don't know what J-Dub's ceiling is. I don't. But it makes me excited for the future because I genuinely have no idea what this kid can do. And I'm excited for it. I'm really, really, really excited for it. I think this year is going to be fun for him. I think he's going to need to level up. I think he's going to have to bring his points up. I think he's going to have to bring his assists up. I think he should bring the ball down the court a little bit more often. I know they were experimenting it throughout the playoffs. I don't think there's a player on this list that I could say I was so wrong about. Not a player. I was extremely wrong about J-Dub. What an incredible talent he is. And honestly, it makes me super excited to see what the Thunder can do. They're still the youngest team in the NBA right now. The youngest. The youngest. At number 2. Well, I think you guys know the last 2 names that are on here, right? Now that we got J-Dub out of the way at number 3. I think you guys know the last 2 names that are up here. Now it's just a matter of what the order in which they are. At number 2, I have the man named Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is at my number 2 going into this season. He averaged 26.5 points, less than 4.5 assists, 6 rebounds, less than a steal, over a block, 43% from deep, 57% from 2, and he was an all-star last year, which means you know who is up first. Kevin Durant, last year, I mean, what can I say about these last 2 players? What can I say? We all know. I don't think I need to dive deep into what they do. You guys know. Kevin Durant's a scorer. Kevin Durant plays defense still. Kevin Durant is one of the most pure scorers the game has ever seen and will ever see. He's 7 foot. He's not 6'10". I'm not buying it. He's 7 foot, maybe even 7'1". Guy's incredibly tall. And he's incredibly talented as well. I may not like Kevin Durant, but I can respect game. And he's got it. You know, he goes on Twitter all the time. He can, if he can back it up, you know. I just don't know what it's like with, I guess I'll say this. I'll be honest with y'all. Kevin Durant does get a lot of flack. He does. But I just have to get this off my chest. I made a Kevin Durant video as well on my main YouTube channel, so go check that out. Kevin Durant over the last 8 years? 8 years? 7 years? 7 years. 7 years. He has had this storm cloud that just follows him around. Just follows him. Wherever he goes. Brooklyn, Phoenix, and now hopefully not Houston. This storm cloud that just follows him, it's like this like inevitable doom. And I'm worried. Not so much for the Rockets, but more for Kevin Durant. I don't know what he could do with a lineup around him that can't shoot. Like, because theoretically speaking, the Phoenix Suns could only shoot. The Brooklyn Nets could only shoot. There was no defense on either of those squads. So now that Kevin Durant has one of the biggest teams in NBA history, I think the average height on this team is going to be 6'7" or 6'8", right? I hope that rain cloud doesn't follow Durant to Houston for Amen's sake, for Terry Easton's sake, right? For Jabari's sake, Alfred Şengün. Listen, they got the 3-point shooting, which Kevin Durant doesn't attempt that many per game, but he does shoot at a high clip at 43%. Is there enough shooting around you? This is the worst shooting team he's ever been on. And if he can somehow deal with that, like, he's not going to space the floor enough. Reed Shepherd might help. They lost Fred VanVleet. I'll tell you this much. I had the Houston Rockets being championship contenders. And I really only have like 3 or 4 teams that are championship, like true contenders, right? And the Rockets were one of them, but I just recently knocked them out when Fred VanVleet got hurt. He is their best 3-point shooter. Their best 3-point shooter. Late game situations when they needed a bucket last season, guess who they're giving it to? Fred VanVleet. And he just hoists up a 30-footer and drills it over and over again. Without that piece, what are they going to do? What are they going to look like? That's worrisome. So this was a little bit projections mainly than just looking at last year. And I genuinely believe that Kevin Durant's going to have a great year, as he always does. It's just, what is that going to lead to? Is that going to get you a playoff series? Is that going to get you 2 playoff series? It better get you 1. It better get you 1 playoff series. I don't know what would be considered a good season for the Houston Rockets. Like conference finals, right? That would be a good season. Because, you know, you get to the conference finals, you lose to, let's say, the Thunder, right? Nobody's going to be mad at you, especially if it was a close series. But if you get eliminated in the first or second round to, let's say, like the Timberwolves or the Nuggets, or the Lakers, Warriors, what are people going to say? I'll tell you what they're going to say. They're going to point at Kevin Durant. Whether they should or not. Actually, no, they probably shouldn't, because he's probably going to average the most points at the most efficient rate. He's going to do what he can. But sometimes what you can do is just not enough. Kevin Durant is at my number 2, which means you guys already know my number 1 is LeBron James. Do you guys really think LeBron isn't still the best small forward in the NBA? Like, let's be so real. Last year, he averaged 24.4 points, 41 years old, by the way, 8.2 assists, 8 rebounds, 1 steal, more than half a block. He shot 37% from 3, which is his lowest in a couple of years, and 57% from 2. He was sixth in MVP voting. He was an all-star, and he was also second team All-NBA. Now, I made this list yesterday, right? I moved names around this morning just because I couldn't decide. LeBron apparently is going to miss until mid-November. I guess he's hurt. I guess he's dealing with some minor injury. But he said that he'd be back in mid-November. LeBron James, I'm not going to dive deep. There's too much to dive on LeBron. I'll make a documentary on LeBron. Just, I don't want to talk about too much LeBron James today. It's 9:45 in the morning. I don't think it's necessary. LeBron James, we all know what he is. We all know what he can do. This is just to show you how excited Lakers fans or LeBron fans should be for next season. Because I don't think that there's a world that Luka Doncic and LeBron James don't feed off of each other. It all depends on what they get from DeAndre Ayton. If they can get an athletic, a more athletic, more pick and roll savvy, not pick and pop, from DeAndre Ayton. If you can get the consistent shooting from Austin Reeves, which I believe you can. If you can get Marcus Smart to just fill the lane, we haven't seen Marcus Smart play in years, right? Like at least relevant games in years. If you can just get stuff out of each of the, we know what LeBron can do to teammates. We know he makes them look better. Same effect that Jokic has. Now, I don't even think the main part of this team is LeBron. It's Luka. It falls on Luka. Have you guys seen him in the preseason? I talked about him yesterday. It's incredible. I think Lakers fans should be extremely excited for going into next season, man. I'm not saying that they are championship contenders, but I think the Lakers are low-key underrated now. I mentioned it in yesterday's podcast when I spoke about Austin Reeves. I think they're underrated. I think people are looking at the other teams like the Thunder, like the Nuggets, like the Timberwolves, like the Rockets, and they saw all this, like the cool moves that they made. And they're overlooking the Los Angeles Lakers. I think with Luka Doncic being there for a full season, the healthiest he's ever been, he sees how healthy and in shape LeBron James is at 41 years old. It motivates him even more. He mentioned it. It motivates him even more to get in better shape, to get better at basketball. I think you're going to see a revenge tour from Luka Doncic this year, and he's going to put up ridiculous numbers, and he is my MVP next year. I think Jokic is going to win it, but I think Luka Doncic has so much to prove this year. They traded me because I was fat. They traded me because I was out of shape. They traded me because I like to drink beer. They traded me because I like to smoke hookah. Like, bro, Luka Doncic is going to evolve this team into something that we've never seen before, and they might not win this year. They might not win next year. But at the twilight of LeBron's career, he's still the best small forward in the NBA. You can ask any NBA GM right now, out of all of these small forwards, not to build around, but to be that final piece to win a championship. You put LeBron on the Mavs, they win. Well, actually, yeah, I mean, Kyrie, AD, and LeBron, I'm not even counting Cooper right there. Like Daniel Gavitt, like, bro, look at that team. You put LeBron on the Clippers. Well, okay, maybe not every team, but LeBron James is still the undisputed best small forward in the NBA, and I think he will be until he retires. Genuinely, I don't think there's anybody on this list, because if number 2 is Kevin Durant, who's right behind him, do you see J-Dub ever impacting the game quite like LeBron is impacting the game even this year? I don't, but maybe. I doubted J-Dub before him, so maybe he will. And that is why I have LeBron James at my number 1. I think he's going to eat off of Luka. Straight up. I think LeBron's going to have a great year, as always. I think he's going to have a great year. Guys, that's all I got for y'all, man. 53 minutes. I think this might be shorter than the shooting guards one. That is all I have. My final notes. Please, if you made it to the end, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Please. Share this show with your friends. I'm sure they'd like it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your uncles, your dog's ex-husband's neighbors. Why not? Leave a like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you are listening on Apple or Spotify or YouTube, be sure to go follow the other platforms. All the links that you'll need will be down below. We are less than a week away from the season, and we're cranking out these pods, and hopefully we can get the Power Forwards one out tomorrow. All right. Yeah, guys, be sure if you guys want to check these live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, primarily on Twitch, YouTube. Yeah, that's, if you want your chat messages to get read, I would highly recommend YouTube or Twitch. All right. 9 a.m. Eastern, all season long, Monday through Friday. Doesn't matter if I'm on vacation or whatever. Probably, like, if I go visit my parents, I'll just bring a little handheld mic instead of my professional studio one, right? And, I do want to say again, be sure to leave your comments. If you guys do come in live, maybe I can take some mailbox questions and answer some, piping hot questions that y'all want answered. I know this is my room, right? Well, this is my office right now, but hopefully down the line, we can have a whole studio. I would love to just sit on a chair, right? Have a table, talk, bring guests on, fly them out. This is only what, the fourth episode, I think? Fifth episode. Wow. And it's crazy to think that we're gonna have 5 episodes a week here starting next week. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I got nothing left to say except for thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. And as always, guys, thanks for watching / listening. I appreciate y'all, man. I'll see you guys in the next one.